All right, let's talk about something so many of us are going through, or will go through, caring for our aging parents. It's a journey, right? Full of love, sure, but also a ton of responsibility and some really unique challenges.
And let's be real for a second. Is it this beautiful act of pure love? Or does it sometimes just feel like crushing pressure? You know, if you've ever felt like you're being pulled in two different directions at once, I promise you, you are not the only one. Not by a long shot.
The truth is, it's almost always both, isn't it? So what we're going to do here is break down a way to approach this whole thing that's actually sustainable. A way you can care for them without completely losing yourself in the process. And we're going to start with the super practical stuff, the foundation.
Okay, Section 1. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the practical, hands-on care that's just non-negotiable for their health and safety.
Okay, look at this number, 69%. That's a huge number, and honestly, it points to one of the scariest and most common problems out there when it comes to caring for older folks. Yeah, that's right. Almost 7 out of every 10 older patients make mistakes with their medication. That's wild. And it just goes to show you, getting a solid system for their prescriptions isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely critical. So how do you actually tackle this? It's really about 3 simple but super effective habits. First, make it a point to go over all their meds with their doctor regularly. You want to make sure everything's still necessary. Second, keep one single, up-to-date list of everything they're taking. And third, seriously, a cheap pill organizer can be a total lifesaver. It just takes all the guesswork out of what to take. And win.
Okay, so we've got the meds handled, but their health isn't just about what's in the medicine cabinet. The space they live in, that's just as important for keeping them safe and, independent.
And a lot of the time, the best safety fixes are actually the easiest. Things like installing grab bars in the bathroom, huge. Getting rid of any loose rugs they could trip on. Making sure there's plenty of light, especially for nighttime trips to the bathroom. And just keeping the things they use all the time within easy reach. Small changes, but they make a massive difference.
And then, of course, there are those other big practical pieces of the puzzle. We're talking about planning good, healthy meals, tackling the financial and legal stuff, wills, power of attorney, and having those really important, even if they're tough, conversations about what the future looks like for their living situation. Trust me, getting ahead of this stuff saves so much stress later on. So once you've got that practical foundation solid, we can move on to the next layer, which is just as vital, and that's their overall holistic well-being. All right, here's another number for you, 20%. And this one shines a light on something that, honestly, gets overlooked way too often.
Yeah, 1 in 5 people over 55 deals with some kind of mental health issue, whether it's depression, anxiety, you name it. And the big takeaway here is simple. Their mental health is just as important as their physical health. Period.
So, what can you actually do to support them? Well, it can be as simple as making sure they feel comfortable talking to you about what's on their mind. It's about encouraging them to do things that keep their brain sharp, puzzles, reading, hobbies they love. And this one is huge, helping them stay connected with friends and family to fight off loneliness. Even just a short walk together can be a fantastic mood booster.
Okay, this brings us to our last section. And honestly, this might be the most important one of all. We've spent all this time talking about how to care for them. Now we need to talk about how to care for you. This is the absolute golden rule.
There's this quote that just nails it. You can't pour from an empty cup. It's so simple, right? But that idea is the entire foundation of being able to do this long term.
Now let's be super clear about this. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's not a luxury. It is a requirement. If you ignore your own needs, you're just going to burn out. And a burned out caregiver doesn't help anyone.
So what does this self-care thing actually look like? Look, it's the basics we all know. Trying to get enough sleep, eating decent food, moving your body a little bit. But it's also about carving out time, even just a little, for stuff that actually makes you happy. And connecting with people who get it, whether that's your friends or maybe a support group.
And please remember this, you do not have to do all of this by yourself. There's something called respite care, and it's a lifesaver. It's basically short-term relief, designed to give you a break so you can rest and recharge, knowing your parent is being well taken care of.
Here's a form of self-care you might not think about. Knowledge. Seriously, the more you learn about what to expect, the more prepared you feel. And being prepared cuts down on so much stress and helps you feel way more confident in the decisions you're making.
All right, so let's boil this all down to your game plan. Number 1, nail down the practical stuff. Safety, meds, legal docs. Number 2,
Look after their whole well-being, not just their physical health. And number 3, the most important rule, prioritize taking care of yourself. Always.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. How can you shift your perspective from just managing a checklist of tasks to actually creating a journey that feels balanced and meaningful for both of you?